Hi, I'm Mary Frances Winters. I am the Chief Executive Officer of the Winters Group, and I am here to introduce our new book, Racial Justice at Work, Practical Solutions for Systemic Change. We wanted to write this book, and this book was authored by me and a number of the Winters Group team members, and I'm just so proud of this work, and I think that you will find it very, very useful as well. I wrote this book because we hear so much from our clients. Tell us what to do, give us a how-to, give us a practical guide, and that's what we have done here. So let me introduce you to some of the authors and some of the chapters in the book. Lee Morrison wrote several chapters. She wrote about how we need to shift our consciousness in order to have racial justice at work. She also wrote about reparations and how to look at training and development in a way that centers justice. We also have Dr. Terrence Harewood, who provides for us a developmental approach to racial justice, how you meet people where they are and move them along a continuum. And we also have Kevin Carter, who writes about anticipating and addressing resistance. We've found quite a bit of resistance to taking a justice-centered approach. And Thalmara Subramanian talks about data and how we use our data, among other things. We have Scott Ferry, who talks about psychological safety, making that really practical. We talk about it, but how do you make it really practical? And you want to be an ally? He has a chapter on allyship as well. How do you do that in a very, very empathetic and practical way? Katelyn Peterson talks about closed mouths don't get fed. And she helps us to understand how to have some of those difficult conversations about justice. Rochelle Younan-Montgomery also talks about accountability. And she does that through processes that are about restorative dialogue. Very practical for you. Tammy Jackson wrote a chapter on the problem with professionalism, and she also co-authored the chapter on how to make reparations a reality now. We have Gabby Gonzalez, who is the author of Recruiting, Hiring, and Other HR Practices for Racial Justice. We always think about this work about being about HR. It is about HR, and Gabby gives us really some practical solutions to move it towards justice. And Mareisha Reese writes a chapter on justice in procurement. This chapter is about policies and practices that limit how small businesses can work with large organizations, some of the policies and practices that are not justice-centered. Megan Ellinghausen is the author of How Algorithms Automate Bias. This is a very fascinating chapter that we oftentimes don't get into, but really, really looking at all of the technology that we have today and how that can be barriers to justice, but she gives us recommendations for how to alleviate those barriers. And then we have Dr. Megan Larson, who speaks about disrupting bias in marketing and advertising and how to do that in a justice-centered way. Krystle Nicholas did not write a chapter in the book. However, Krystle, who is the senior financial analyst at the Winters Group, is responsible and the designer of the cover artwork. And isn't it just amazing? So there you have it. These are the authors, some of our authors, some of the topics, and we do hope that you will buy this book because we think if you are interested in justice, if you want to reimagine a more just workplace, this book will give you the ideas and the way to do that. Thank you.